Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming this evening. We'll get started here in a minute or so. Let everyone get in from the waiting room and we'll get started. So hang in there. All right, awesome. Well, thank you everyone so much for attending this evening's webinar about our elementary education bachelor degree. My name is Sarah Kells. I'm one of the admissions representatives with Kansas State University Online. I am joined tonight with my colleague Roxanne Kennedy. She's another admissions representative. Dr. Lori Levine, Michelle Martinez, and Marcus Kidd are from our College of Education, and they're going to be here to give us a great presentation about our online program and the application process. I do wish that everyone can locate the Q&A down at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to ask questions throughout the evening, throughout the presentation. We'll either answer those live or we will wait until the end of the presentation for specific questions. But yeah, we'll go ahead and also if you're able to find the chat feature, it should be available. Just let us know where you are from, and we'd love to know where everybody's coming from. Also, with the recording of tonight, we are going to be recording tonight's session, and everyone should be getting a copy of that here probably in the next 7 business days. So definitely look out for that in your inbox here later in the next week. But with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our team.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Levine, and I am the coordinator of the Bachelor of Science in Online Elementary Education. So we call it the BSO here in the College of Education. That's Bachelor of Science, and it's completely online. So we have a pretty special program that I'm excited to talk to you about tonight, and I really hope that you'll think about joining us and becoming a partner with me on a journey to licensure in an elementary classroom. So our program is made for anyone that is ready to become a licensed teacher. So that means if you're just starting out with no college credits, you can hop on from square one as a freshman, or you can transfer previously earned credits from a community college or another four-year institution and bring them to K-State and have as little as 2 years to complete the program with me. So what we offer is a pretty fast real world pathway so that you can make a big impact in the classroom and serve students in your home community. You can earn a bachelor's degree with recommendation for Kansas initial licensure in grades K through 6, like I said, in as little as 2 years. And you complete 100% of your coursework online, which is beautiful because you get to stay in your home community and take classes with us at K-State, kind of on your own terms and in your own time. And basically, when it gets time for you to do field experiences or student teaching, you get to pick a local accredited elementary school in your home community to do that in.
All right, so hi everyone. My name is Marcus and I work at the Center for Student Success with Michelle. I'm the Assistant Director for Enrollment Management. So what that means is that a lot of the recruitment processes, answering questions about an application, all of those pieces, I'm just here to be a resource for you. And so just bouncing off of Dr. Levine's point of the amount of time it would take to complete your degree. So the entire program is 120 credit hours. And so when we split that up to 4 years, that roughly breaks out to around like 14 to 15 hours per semester that you'll do, and around like at least one summer term for you to get all those classes in. So if some of us are coming from a background of already having some credits from like a community college or some other institution, something to be aware of is that the max that we can take is 60 credits. So if you've been at another institution or a couple of other institutions for a bit and have anything in excess of that, just know that we'll pick the 60 most applicable to this degree program to apply. In which if you are transferring in with 60 credits, then you'll have around just like roughly 2 years to complete this program, which is just really exciting. You can get it done really, really quickly.
Hey, Michelle, do you want to take this slide?
I did the Zoom thing, mute, unmute.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Martinez. I'm the academic advisor who works with all the online programs. So I'm just kind of curious where everyone is from tonight. If you were to transfer to K-State, what schools would you be transferring from? Where are they located? If you would, some of you would put some your locations in the chat, that would be great. So we accept transfer credits from community colleges, two-year colleges, other universities. K-State has a wonderful website called the Transfer Equivalency. So like Marcus was talking about, so regardless of what institution you are attending, as long as it's an accredited institution, you can send your transcripts to K-State and we can evaluate them to see how classes transfer. So along with that, with this Transfer Equivalency website, and the address is right there on the screen that you can go back to and check out later. So KCK person here, you can go to the transfer website, look at KCK, elementary ed, transfer classes to K-State, and you can see exactly how everyone can, or how your specific classes can transfer. You can either select individual courses. Maybe you want to look at statistics, for example. You can look to see what statistics is at KCK and how it transfers to K-State. So it's a really nice setup. Even if your school is not listed there, that doesn't mean that we won't accept your transfer credits. That's why it'll be really important to send your transcripts and we can take a look at them. Hi, Hira.
And Dr. Levine, I think you're muted if you were trying to.
Thank you. Golly, I've Zoomed so much in the past 3 years. You'd think I'd be so great at it, right? But thank you for a little help from my friends. So yeah, we have at K-State kind of a nice way that we keep our students connected and connected with faculty and each other. So we have what we call community learning model. And that means you go through in a cohort. So when you come into the program, wherever you come in, say you have your 60 credits and you're coming from a community college, you'll come in and the 4 semesters you spend with me in the BSO, you're together with the same group of students and you get to form relationships and feel like you're connected to K-State and each other, which is really kind of nice in an online environment. So students work together, they take coursework together, and they work very closely with me and with some other instructors. And we kind of are flexible and do what it takes to meet your needs and meet you where you are so that we can get you through the program in as little as 4 semesters and kind of take care of one another as you get through the program. So I'll talk a little bit too about field experiences. What makes our program work so well is that you are in your home community and you get a lot of choice in where you want to do your field experiences. Throughout your 2 years in the program, 4 semesters, you'll have 3 to 4 field experiences. And you get to pick, like I said, your top 3 choices of schools. You can pick districts, you can pick individual schools, and K-State tries as much as we can to honor your requests. We just have to have a school that agrees to host you, they have to agree to a memorandum of understanding, which is just legalese for their lawyers agreeing with K-State's lawyers under a partnership for you to student teach there. And then they also need to agree to allowing you to videotape your lessons that you teach. And that allows us to watch you teach, give you important feedback, and help you grow and set goals to improve as a teacher, either in real time or through a virtual secure cloud that we use.
So one of the most common questions that we get in our program, so I'm an online student and I am in New York. So how does that work? How can I get a license in my state? So the easiest answer is definitely, you can get licensed in your state. So education is always in flux in terms of like regulations and rules. So for each state, everyone sets their own standards for how they they require people to get their license. So what we really encourage our students to do, since you will be attending a program in Kansas, it is really to your benefit to get licensed in Kansas first, and then you can transfer that license to another state. It adds flexibility to you being able, if you move, if you're in the military and you move, every few years, it makes it a lot simpler in terms of the process of going from one state to another. With that being said, we also encourage you, say, for example, if you're in Colorado and you want to know how it works in Colorado, contact the state, look at the state Department of Education's website and look at their requirements for out of state. They may have an alternate path for you to get your license. That might be, a nice situation for you to follow. So, but overall, our recommendation is definitely get your license in Kansas first. So for your teaching license in Kansas, we require that you take there's a pedagogy test, which is your principles of learning and teaching. That's going to be based on a lot of what you learn in your educational psychology and core teaching skills and your special ed class. You get really excellent preparation for taking this test. So usually students will take this particular exam after their what we call their Block A semester, which Dr. Levine will talk about in a minute. And then content test. Elementary content test. Elementary, you guys get to teach everything. So your content test is it covers all the subjects that you're going to be teaching, and it's called the CKT. And most of our students will take that in their last year of the program. Usually we just tell students to get that initial license, just get these tests done by the time you finish your student teaching, and you'll be ready to apply for your license at the end of the program. You don't have to worry that, how am I going to remember all this? And this is stuff that Dr. Levine, myself, our licensing officer, and your other faculty will talk to you about and remind you about. So, and then in Kansas, as in other states, we use educational testing services, which they administer what the praxis test for educators. And you can take these tests nationwide. So if you're in Florida and you want going to be there on vacation for the summer and you want to take your first licensing test, you can take it in Florida and just make sure your score reports are sent to Kansas. So that's really nice. You can take that test anywhere. And then in Kansas, you can, once you have your elementary ed license, you can add other subjects and levels onto your teaching license by taking tests. So for example, a popular one to add to your elementary ed license is English as a second language. If you have some English background and you are interested in teaching maybe up through middle school English, you could do an English test. Same thing with any of these other subjects, science, social sciences, and math. But the really important thing is, if you want to add any other subjects onto your teaching license, you have to have your elementary ed license first. And then just as in any state, you do have to go through some background checks, which involves fingerprinting and of course, we all get to pay fees for applications. And so that's a part of the process as well.
So one of the really great things just to keep in mind is that there are ways that you can support yourself throughout this journey. So going to college in any respect, if it's in person or even doing something online, that's quite the financial investment. And so we have resources here to help you through that. So just to kind of highlight a few things, obviously, if you're in need of aid, the FAFSA is a really great resource. That's the federal aid that you can get from the government. As you go through the program as well, the Kansas Board of Regents has scholarships and grants available to you too. Just keep in mind that you have to live in Kansas to be applicable for those. There's the online pathway to teach and transfer scholarship. So something that benefits only students that will be transferring into the program. So that's really nice too. The Teach Grant is a really nice option, whereas you can receive funds if you qualify, if you're going to an area of high need for education. So elementary education, at least for the state of Kansas, has been a high need for the last several years. And so that'd be an example of one of those areas where you could utilize those Teach Grants for. And then in general, when you apply, that's where you can apply for additional scholarships through what we call the KSN or the K-State Scholarship Network. And so what's really great too is that you'll get emails about at least about the KSN part after you apply. So you'll either get that from like myself or from Sarah. Someone will definitely reach out to you to make sure that you take advantage of all of those different scholarships and grants and other pieces that can help you financially throughout that journey. And what's also great too is that the global campus themselves offer scholarships for you. So if you can think of it, there's probably some sort of resource somewhere that can help you out. One of the things that's not listed on this slide that I'll share is that if you do your own sort of research or do your own digging, there's a ton of other organizations that give out scholarships too, just for educators. So, or those working to be an educator. So don't underestimate the ability of utilizing a combination of scholarships, grants, etc. For your own perspective, just something to keep in mind is that, you know, there is no, as far as we're concerned, there is no like limit to, you know, if you get something through the KSN along with the Teach Grant, along with using FAFSA dollars, like you can utilize a combination of that. So again, don't underestimate your ability to be able to do that.
So one of the things that we really encourage you to do is to apply, because what happens once you apply and you send your transcripts to K-State and get admitted, then you can receive an official evaluation of your credits. And so that's the first step in the process, is get admitted to K-State, send your transcripts, and then we can start working with you there. So once I get the official notification from Global Campus that a student's been admitted, I send the evaluation to the student and we set up a time either through Zoom or a phone call. I really prefer to meet with new students in one of those two ways the first time, and we'll go over your credits. I'll answer your questions. I like to talk with students more about just the program requirements. And then another step in the process, usually not all in one meeting, but one of the things that I do with all of my advisees is we make sure that the students have a long-term plan so they know what their upcoming semesters will be looking like in terms of knowing what classes are, you know, maybe only offered in the summer or in the fall and how things fit together. So preparing for the admission to the professional program. So as a brand new student, you are admitted to K-State as what we call a pre-professional student. So if you are transferring to K-State and you have a good number of your transfer credits done, the classes that we really will be looking for to make sure you have done will be English 100 and 200, which at K-State, those are your writing 1 and 2 classes. Public speaking, college algebra, and statistics. So what we want students to do, we want you to have a minimum number of credit hours. So if you have 60 credit hours, for example, you're in good shape. So have those general ed classes done. If you have had some type of field experience through your intro to teaching class, your foundations of ed class, that's another thing we will look for, because as a newly admitted student, if you have all of this done, then you will be ready to apply for what we call the professional program. Professional program is your last 4 semesters, and that's when you'll get to really spend a lot of time with Dr. Levine and get to know her well. And she'll talk about the professional classes here in a minute. So, and then we do require in the College of Education at K-State, we do have a 2.75 GPA requirement. So how we figured that GPA is we use the credits that apply directly to the degree. So, and Marcus was talking about this a little bit ago about how you transfer credits and the minimum number we can accept. So, say for example, you have 90 credits completed, and 45 of those actually apply to the elementary ed degree. We will use the 45 credit hours when we're figuring your GPA. So that could be a really good thing for some students. Maybe you entered into a degree path that just wasn't for you and your grades weren't so great, but then you found your path and the elementary ed is what you want to do and your grades have been great. That GPA is 2.75. That's how we figure that. And then we do want you to have, if at all possible, send us a copy of your ACT or SAT score. Don't worry, that's not a requirement to get into our professional program, but we would like a copy of it if you do have it. And then I will help you with the process of applying once we figure out that you've met all of these requirements and are ready to start with our professional program.
So I'll talk a little bit about that professional program. When you get to that point that you are in the professional teacher education semesters, you'll spend 4 semesters working closely with me and other instructors, taking a series of classes. And like I said, it's a cohort model. So you'll go through these 4 semesters with the same group of colleagues and feel like you're part of that learning community. So year 1, you would start in fall and take a series of courses. I teach several of those. And then in spring semester of your first year in the professional program, you would take another series of courses where you get into your methods classes. So you get literacy K2 and science K6, along with assessment and teaching culturally and linguistically diverse learners. Then in your final year, you're doing basically student teaching for the whole school year, along with splitting up the final classes that you need to take at K-State. And that's really what sets our program apart from other programs in the state of Kansas and across the nation, is that we have kind of a year-long elementary internship. And so what that looks like is your 3rd and 4th semesters, or your final year at K-State, your student teaching half days. And by student teaching half days, it gives you the flexibility to keep employment outside of your student teaching hours. And it gives you the ability to spread your final coursework over 2 semesters instead of the traditional 16-week full day student teaching experience that most universities have in place. And I guess there's a lot of benefits, but really flexibility just to student teach in your home community while maintaining employment is the huge thing. Again, all the coursework is online. Most of the courses are asynchronous. Asynchronous means that they are not live sessions, and so you get to work at your own pace, meeting due dates and deadlines according to your own schedule, which is really nice. You get support from a mentor teacher in a classroom over 2 full semesters. So you get to see the beginning of a school year in August and be with the same group of students all the way until the end of the school year in May, which is very, very nice, because in a typical 16-week scenario, you're either starting at the beginning and finishing in December, or you're starting in January, like mid-school year, and finishing in May, and you don't get to see the continuum of an entire school year with your kids and experience their growth and development, and all of the milestones that go with that. And again, many of the students that I work with actually work in the same building where they're student teaching, which is beautiful because they're being paid and they don't have to commute to their work, right? So they're able to help out their school community. They're able to be a vital part of the school, and mentoring students and being mentored at the same time by a cooperating teacher in your building.
So as you continue through your journey with us through this program, you may be reflecting and just thinking, what are these skills that I can take from these experiences to add to a resume? Or what do I say in an interview when the kid pulled my hair in class or something of the like, right? And so what's great is that K-State has a full service career center to be able to help you. Think of things of like, what did you experience and how can you put this into words in an appropriate setting to tell a potential employer like, hey, this is why you should hire me. And so like throughout the years, we'll have like virtual career fairs, if you will, that are meant just for educators that you could potentially register for to be able to meet HR reps from different school districts and whatnot. We have a full stop shop for our students that are currently on campus. And so again, there's resources for our online students too. There's so many different ways to prep or prepare for that next step of getting that job at that school. We want to make sure that we help you full circle. It's not just the classes that we have you take, it's the whole experience of really professionally preparing you for that. And let's say that you complete this program. And let's say that you find something that's adjacent to educating, but still in that teaching sphere, like same thing. We can help you jot down what those top bullet points are that you can use for those transferable skills too.
So I'll share with you a little bit of feedback that I have from a former student that finished the program. And basically what they talk about here, I couldn't have asked for a better promotion for the program, or for better student feedback. And this student said that it was the best decision that they could have made. Doing the year-long apprenticeship has been amazing, and she got to be with kids every day, have the opportunity to work for the entire school year. She switched back and forth from the first part of the day to the last part of the day, so she would be able to see an entire school day throughout the school year. She stayed full days sometimes. She had a lot of flexibility, and she got to say good morning to her children and at the start of the day, and goodbye, and put them on the school bus at the end of the day. She really liked the way that her teacher and her set this up, because she got the opportunity to see and teach every single subject. So that would be math, science, social studies, ELA, and all of the other things that go into an elementary school day. The K-State coursework load is much lighter, she says, since it's split up over 2 semesters, which is very nice. And it made it easier for this particular student to prioritize her time student teaching with the opportunity for extra free time. And it was a money labor saver for this student. And she highly recommends doing it for anyone that is curious. And again, this is what sets K-State's program apart, is that we do have half-day scheduling for that entire school year, allowing you to keep employment. And in fact, some of my students actually are working full-time as teacher of record under the mentorship of the building principal in districts that have a very, very high need to fill vacancies. And so they are able to pay a student teacher to teach as a full-time teacher with a lot of assistance and mentorship again. But there's a lot of flexibility in this program, the way that we've designed it. And I'm really excited that you're thinking about coming to K-State. So I hope that we get to work together.
And so now that we're kind of in the process of wrapping up, it's just really good to think about what happens now, like what are the next steps? And so if you are ready to apply, the apply link, I'm sure will be put in the chat if it hasn't been already. But some really important dates for you to think about that are upcoming would just be those application priority dates for both May and August. So the one for the summer is going to be for May, obviously, and the one for the fall will be for August. And so what's nice too is that after today, like let's say that you've gone through info overload from what we've had to share today, you will be able to go back and review this webinar, so this recording, if you will. So that's a plus. And then what's also great too, so with you joining us today, you're actually able to get a free waiver on your application. So when you are applying that application, most applications through most universities will be like $40 to $50 or so. And so what's nice is that with you being here tonight, that is actually going to be waived for you. And so you won't hear about any of the logistics, so just going to apply. Sarah, I think, can explain some of those other logistics too, if there are any, when we actually get into that application.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely everyone that's attended tonight will receive an application fee waiver. You'll just email that online at ksu.edu, and Roxy and I will, depending on who your representative is, one of us will reply to you very quickly with your next steps on how to take advantage of that. Thanks so much to our three presenters. I really appreciate it. And I actually learned a couple new things. I always learn something new. But I do want to take this time to tell everyone for any questions, put them in the Q&A. We do have one that I wanted to answer live. We have a question from an anonymous attendee. Will you be able to retake the praxis tests, and how many times are you able to take that? Who wants to take it?
I'll take it.
Okay.
So with the praxis test, you can retake it. So I will use the praxis PLT as an example. So that test, if you take it and you happen to miss the passing score by a few points, you can schedule it again and take it again at a later time. One of the things that educational testing services, they don't allow you to take the test immediately. They have you wait a period of time before you can take it. So, and then the next level of testing, the CKT, the content knowledge for teaching, that test has 4 subtests. We encourage students to do, usually students prefer to break the test into 2 different testing periods. And so let's say you take the science test and the math test for the CKT, and you pass the science, but you don't pass the math. You can just register and retake the math one. So yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Excellent. And then Michelle, I saw another question, I think from Hira in the chat. Can students from community colleges start in spring semester, or do they have to wait until fall?
No, we encourage students to transfer whenever they feel like they're ready. So I actually have a couple of KCK students who did transfer in the spring because it worked really well for them. They transferred and they took some classes that they needed before they started the professional program in the fall. So yes.
And that application, if they were wanting to apply for a spring semester, that's usually a January 1st deadline. And yeah, we definitely encourage students to apply as early as they possibly can, so that way they can be admitted. They can have all their transcripts sent. That's another thing, is that by that deadline, that's when we need transcripts along with your application. That way we can get those reviewed and evaluated and get you connected with an advisor as soon as we can.
Excellent. Any other questions that we can answer tonight?
Yeah, here's another one from here. Can community college students take a few credits at the community college and at K-State?
Is that, does that mean at the same time?
Simultaneously. Mhm.
It kind of depends on their financial aid situation. If a student is taking classes, say, for example, a student starts at K-State and there are some classes that aren't available at K-State that they could possibly take at KCK, there is an agreement that they can get through financial aid that allows them to do that. It really depends on the student situation.
Yeah, financial aid is usually one of the things that any questions like that, that's usually my first question is financial aid. Are you applying for that and what the situation is? A couple more questions. If I decide that I want to teach high school while still in the program, would it better to finish than just test for that license or to transfer programs?
So if you are, this is kind of a tricky question. In the state of Kansas, it's better if you start in the elementary ed program, it's easier to test up into higher levels, middle school and high school subjects if you have the content knowledge to take and pass the test. If you were to start, let's say you came to K-State and you started as a secondary ed math student, but decided to switch to the online program, or excuse me, switch to elementary later, you would have to go back and do the elementary ed program. So short answer to that question is start elementary, and then it's easier to add to your elementary license.
There's another question. Does everything that was talked about apply to elementary education students who attend in person, or is there a difference? Most everything that we did talk about today, yes, does apply to our on-campus students as well. And the beauty of being on campus or online is that you can switch back and forth. So you could go to campus for your first couple of semesters and then decide to transfer into the online program because you want to go back to your home community to do your student teaching. I have a lot of students that actually do that. And that is the beauty of it being so flexible, is that you can go back and forth between being on campus and being online. So yes, most of what we talked about, the same financial aid for the most part applies. The same professional program requirements definitely apply, and the same series of coursework absolutely applies.
And you would also not need to reapply for admission. That's a question I get a lot, is that once you're admitted to Kansas State University, whether the on-campus or online, we would just do some stuff on the back end to switch you. You wouldn't have to reapply for admission and go through that process again.
Thank you. All right, there's another question about how soon you would be doing field experiences, observation. So a student has been attending another college with the goal of getting a teaching degree, and just a few days before classes started, they found out that they were going to have a lot of observation hours early on. So basically at K-State, there is a way to do the observation hours while you're still working. You have to start basically those 4 semesters of your professional program. Each semester, we do require a certain number of field experience hours, but I'm very flexible in how those can be fulfilled. And so some of them can be fulfilled through substitute teaching, for instance. Some can be fulfilled through your duties as a paraprofessional in a building. So it just varies by situation. And we look at each student individually and see sort of where they're working, what they're doing, and then we come up with a good program of study for field hours that works for each person.
Another question, is there a difference between the fall semester and the summer semester in terms of how long it would take to get the elementary education degree or the coursework amount?
The general education classes, if students wanted to take summer classes, there are a good number of the general education classes that are offered in the summer, so you could do that. The professional program is 4 semesters, and it is a fall spring combination of semesters. So the professional program semesters aren't offered in the summer.
Good questions. All right, any other questions? These are some really great questions. So the past couple, I learned
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah, good questions.
All right, well, I'm not seeing any come in quite yet. I'm going to go ahead and just say thank you to everyone for attending tonight. As I know sometimes evenings don't always work for everyone, but definitely email us at the online@ksu.edu with any other questions you think of. If you're interested in applying and for a fee waiver, definitely email us there. And if Roxy and I aren't able to answer your questions, I know Marcus and Michelle and Dr. Levine can definitely help with us with that. But yeah, thank you so much again, everyone, and hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.